All right, welcome back everybody to the TraderLion channel. This is Richard here with Russ Haber, and today we're continuing on with our Chart of the Week series covering MCK, McKesson Corp, which is our stock of the week, and we'll be running through the fundamentals as well as the technicals and the specific buy point that we're watching going into the coming few days. So with that, Russ, I'll hand it over to you to discuss the technicals and what you're looking for next week.
All right, thank you very much, Richard. So long story short here, that this is one of those classical. We saw breakout out of a nice long base here. The stock has this beautiful run up, respecting its key moving averages, which makes managing risk and your sell stops a whole lot easier along the way. This is one of those characteristics I've noticed that a lot of model book stocks tend to have. Once you break the key moving, notice once you break that 50-day moving average, there's plenty of better places to be, including cash. And I would say all the way up until now, right? While it's always nice to be able to pick the bottom or somewhere close to the bottom, that's a lot harder to do here than where we are now. One of the things that Bill used to say, the cheapest price is not always the best price, meaning that your risk reward here and aggravation factor potential for getting shaken out, dealing with all of this whipsaw base building that this stock will do when it's not necessarily in a trend and behaving in an organized manner, respecting averages and areas of logical support like it would. Until that happens, until you see the volume, that's something to keep in mind. However, this is very constructive action that we're seeing here. Ultimately, these are all very tight closes. It's got a beautiful respect for this 50-day moving average here. So on strength, if the volume's there, again, the risk reward is superb in my eye. Richard's going to get further into earnings and sales, and I would say this, even though these are far from explosive, and this is one of your more boring stocks. We're talking about medical supplies, Band-Aids, gauze pads, that sort of thing. The bottom line is we're seeing massive power here. The group and sector behind it is where it is right now in the market. And I will say this, so many of the larger cap names in this sector and just area of the market are really what's participating also. It's one of those things that I notice when I'm watching rotations. So McKesson is another one, along with the Amgens and Pfizers and, those typical 2 and 3 letter, quote unquote, what I used to call listed names. A lot of these stocks, you'll notice, have very solid, consistent, steady earnings in the market that's super choppy with a lot of fear and uncertainty surrounding interest rates, inflation. Everyone's predicting recession, that sort of thing. There's a huge premium paid for
Stability.
stable earnings or earnings stability. So in any event, keeping that in mind in case that is what you're wondering. Otherwise, we have a high-priced, super constructive liquid name in one of the strongest areas of the market. You can see it's medical wholesale drug supply, retail wholesale drug supply, 8 out of 197. And before I move on and let Richard cover the fundamentals, look at the weekly here. You got the stair step, base on base on base, this beautiful smooth move, organized, very organized move up. It's one that you'd have to be patient on. You can get some wide swings here. But you're watching on Fridays, Bill O'Neill style. It almost, you can't help but sit in the stock until it finally breaks its 50-day moving average. And now we've got super tight action, three weeks tight for sure. You might even call it 4. And you've got, again, that textbook drift in on the closes, showing support at the 50-day. Volume is declining, relative strength is there. And so, that's my favorite of the top 10 for the week for sure. That being said, Richard, what do we got for you to add today?
Yeah, on the technical side of things, just when you switch that weekly chart, what immediately what I focused on was that relative strength line that just popped. I mean, look at that increase during this trend. That's clear. Going back to the daily chart within this kind of handle that it's forming, I really like those shakeouts to that 50-day moving average. We had one just on this Thursday, and then one looks like a week and a half ago. Nice upside reversal off those moving averages on higher volume. That's always a plus, finishing green on the day as well. So some nice shakeouts, shaking out the weak holders, and yeah, definitely some supportive action there. In terms of the fundamentals, you already covered that this is in one of the leading areas of the market. I 100% agree. But I do want to point out and make sure people are aware of, we do have deceleration in terms of earnings the past 4 quarters. Sales growth, obviously this is a more mature company. It's right about 10% over the past 4 quarters. Maybe this next earnings report changes things. We've got earnings in 12 days. But I would like to see, a really strong quarter changing that deceleration trend. I think that'd be very productive. We've also got estimates about flat for this year, although estimate revisions are up, and then a little bit of growth expected in 2024. So definitely the fundamentals don't scream super high growth, but like Ross said, right now this is kind of what the market has turned to, that stability in earnings, and that definitely matters. In terms of fund ownership, we've got a steady increase over the past 2 years, 2 high quality funds as well, although we do have Fidelity Contra Fund lining up their positions over the past looks like 2 quarters. So that's pretty much my take on the stock. I think it's definitely set up nicely for next week through that pivot, downward trend line, whatever you want to draw there. And we definitely want to see a breakout on volume, suggesting that institutions are behind any sustained move. And definitely, if it does start a really nice trend, you'd watch for a respect of the short-term moving averages, kind of base to base, consolidation to consolidation, and then the 50-day moving average throughout that entire move until the next proper base. So yeah, with that, definitely one to have on your radar, one to have on your watch list. If you're interested in more of the top 10 type stocks, definitely check out the link down below in the description. That's where Ross posts his market insight, analysis of the overall indexes, as well as his list for next week, every single week. So definitely check that out. That is linked down below, as well as popping up right now. And with that, Ross, any last words to add about MCK?
Nope, that covers it, my friend.
Perfect. So let us know your thoughts on this setup down below in the comment section. Leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.